Hey there, friends. Welcome to another website review where we spend a few minutes diving into church websites from across the US and Canada. I'm excited to be here with you. My name's Brian Haley. If we haven't met before, I'm the producer of Church Juice, and I'm so excited to spend a few minutes today with you as we are doing every Wednesday this summer and just look at another church website. We are spending just a few minutes today looking at a church in Philadelphia this week. So I'm excited. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. That way you won't miss any future website reviews like this. We also have a weekly podcast that we would love for you to be a part of and be a part of the Church Juice community as well. And so you can get more details about that when you subscribe and turn on notifications. And then you'll always be up to date with what we're doing around here. As always, too, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, or you would like to add your own feedback to the website that we're reviewing today, you can add comments in the video, of course. You can also go to our Church Juice Insiders Facebook group and join the discussion there, where we can continue today's website review, talk about things that we like, things about how they relate to our own church website, what we've learned, those kinds of things too. So I would love to have you in that group if you're not already, and be a part of the community there of church communicators. We are learning, we are growing, we are energizing church communications together, of course. So again, if we haven't met, my name is Brian. I'm so glad that you're here watching along today. Let's dive in to today's website review. All right, so today we are looking at, let me go to the right tab. We're looking at the church in Philadelphia, the Christian church in Philadelphia. If you would like to follow along, you can grab a link in the description below today's video. You can grab a link to the website, check it out for yourself. All right, so when we go to church in the, sorry, the URL is churchinphila.org. So when we go to the Christian Church in Philadelphia's website, this is the first thing that I see, the first thing that you'll see, of course. The first thing that I notice is that there's this black bar across the top, which forces the menu to go down a little bit. It looks like it sticks there once you scroll down, so that's good. I'm not sure why there's a black bar there at the top, but something to look at probably, because that's just dead space that's taking up valuable real estate. All right, the next thing that I notice is here we have the first thing that we come to is scrolling announcements. So as a first-time visitor, as a website visitor, most people will not spend time scrolling through several images, rotating images with announcements on them. So if you're going to have rotating images or a carousel like this, keep it to very few, 1, 2, or maybe 3, and make sure that it applies to everybody that's coming to your website, primarily the people who have no connection to your church. So make sure that it's something inviting, something that's relevant to a first-time visitor, that kind of thing. So we see Vacation Bible School. We see Sunday morning online. Next, we see communion. Next, we see ways to give. And finally, we see something about joining the church. So I would say that maybe Vacation Bible School and maybe the virtual church, virtual service, that probably can apply to everybody. The others are more geared toward people who are part of your church, I would think. Ways to give, communion, and I'm not really sure what the last one is really about. I think it's just like a general contact us. So if you need to have rotating images, make sure that these are focused again on people who have no connection to your church, who are exploring your church, who are just trying to figure things out, figure out who you are as a church. I would say that rotating images, carousel images, are really taking away from your website more than they are adding to your website. So I would encourage you to rethink this space a little bit. Can you make it something that's a static image or announcement, something like that, something that's welcoming? What is the first impression that you want to give to people who are coming to your church's website? Tithing is probably not the first thing that you want people to experience or to see when they go to your church website. As we scroll down, we see pictures of who I assume is the lead pastor or whoever you call the pastor in your church. Although there's no description of who he is. And then there's a picture of the building here. So that's pretty great. I love seeing pictures of people. So maybe some of these pictures that you're using in the carousels are something that you could use down in the lower parts of your website or your homepage. The one thing that works really well for you all in your text here is that in your name, the Christian Church in Philadelphia, it's given the location, so people know that you're in Philly, I would assume. And so when you talk about the name of your church, that helps your SEO, that helps your search rankings, because you are already, in your name, you're already talking about how local you are to the city of Philadelphia. You could talk about the neighborhood you're in. You could talk about something that's a lot more local, because obviously Philadelphia is a large city. But anytime you can bring in the city or the neighborhood or the region that you're in to the content of your homepage, the more that's going to help you when people are searching for churches in your area. Make sure that when we add blocks of text, that they are skimmable, that they're super readable, and that they are providing value to the website reader. So most people are not going to read a whole paragraph on a welcome or things like that, or really any paragraphs of text. But that can help your SEO, that can help your search rankings. And if you do it right, you can add value to the reader. You can help them understand what your church is about, who you are as a community, as a congregation, as a church body. So these are things that you can include in your homepage as you're inviting people to take a deeper step or a next step to learn more about your church. I would say that these areas, a welcome is always great. What is the first thing that you want people to know? You have this, obviously, this kind of header area up top here, but what's the first thing that you want to tell them? And that's what should be here. I would love to see, if this is a picture of your pastor, then say that it's a picture of your pastor. That's okay. If not, then I would include you to add pictures of people in your church here. The building's good when you're talking about the location. If we're talking about our church, I would love to see pictures of people, because the church is the people, right? Not a building. But when you're talking about a location, the building is helpful for visual reference. We have, again, a paragraph about, I assume, what the mission of the church is. We can visit the YouTube page for previous sermons. If there's a way for you all to embed those sermons on your website, that helps people stay in your website longer and gives them an opportunity to explore more. Let's see what happens when we click out here. Obviously, you don't see this, but when you click on this link to YouTube, all it does is it takes you out of the website to YouTube, to their YouTube page. All right, now at the bottom here, or not the bottom, the next section, sorry, we have four little tables. We have who we are, testimonials, what we believe, join our church. I'm guessing that these are what you are thinking or hoping are next steps for people. The one thing that I noticed right away is your calls to action are text only. So they're not actual physical buttons or visual buttons. That makes it just a little bit harder for our brains to comprehend what's going on. Yes, they're different colors. The text is different colors. So we assume that they're clickable. But when we create a visual button, it helps our brains more quickly realize that this is something that's clickable. And the text that we have here for each of these calls to action is pretty generic. Click here or read more. The more descriptive you can be in your buttons and your calls to action, hey, learn more about who we are, read about how we came to be a congregation, read Lisa's testimony. The more descriptive we can be in those buttons, the better we are for both accessibility, but also for clickability as well. When we know what we're clicking, more than just read more or click here, then we get a better conversion rate as well. So you can play around with those and see what works. Overall, I would say that as we kind of journey through this homepage, I would say that we could clean this up a little bit to be focused more on the first-time visitor itself or their self. So I talked a little bit about the header, offering things that make sense to them, to a first-time visitor to the church. I think these sections are good. We want to give a welcome. We want to, invite people into this community, why we are here, what we do, who we are as a people, and our church, and what we want to invite people into. So I think that would be this section here where we have these 4 little things. Testimonials are great. What stories, what is God doing through the people in our church? We already have a who we are in about our church. To me, that's the same. And I'm just skimming the text. It looks like it is basically a copy of the paragraph above. So it seems like a duplicate, unnecessary. So this section, I think we could rework a little bit. What do people want to know? I think the testimonials are a great idea. You can incorporate that. You can give them a next step. What do you want them to do when they're here? Maybe it is read more testimonials, and that's what this section is for. We can talk about the testimonies of people who have experienced life change through our church, or the relatable experiences that people have that someone who is coming to the website might also be experiencing. That's something really powerful. And so that is something that you could really focus on here and bring out. I think if you're already sharing testimonies of people, then highlight that and be okay with that. But what do you want people to do next? That's my question here. The next section you have online giving. I would say it's too soon to talk about online giving on your homepage. You already have the button at the top. So I would get rid of it here in your header section, and I would get rid of this section as well. That can be something for your congregation, for your people. So if you have a central place on your website for members to connect with information, that's where you want your online giving options. On your homepage is too soon for a website visitor. This should be something more like visit our virtual service or whatever was mentioned at the top of the homepage, or visit us in person, or watch a recent sermon, or what is the next step that you want people to take. Online giving is too soon. They haven't experienced any part of your church. So you could talk about the different ministries in your church here. You could talk about what makes your church unique. That would be great for your up here about our church. Talk about what makes your church unique. Here is, again, should be a next step. So what do you want people to do? They come to your website, they read a little bit about who you are as a church. What is it that you want them to do next? That should be in this section. Here you have latest news updates. I assume this is just kind of general announcements, that kind of thing. Um, Interestingly, these announcements are not clickable. The links just bring you back to the homepage. Um, so I'm not sure that this section is actually adding value, if that's all it is. So I would again rethink this. You can add latest news, latest announcements, upcoming events. Those are all great things to have, but make sure that it's workable. Make sure that it actually, it adds value to the relationship, because what you're doing when people come to your website is you are starting a relationship. You are starting that connection with people. So make sure that you are providing opportunities for them to connect deeper with you. Um, if you have a section about news and they can't read more into it, then that's not really adding value to the relationship there. All right. So that's all the homepage. I love that. I love that you all have pictures, especially, let's see. I know there was a couple up here. Yeah, I love this picture of people on your website. Oh, I skipped one. I also love this one because this shows worship on Sunday morning, or I assume is worship on Sunday morning. I would love to see more pictures of people, more pictures of what you all are doing on Sunday or throughout the week, or what's your church passionate about? What makes your church your church? I would love to see more of that, more of the people. Let's check out the virtual Sunday. Okay, so you all do have your some YouTube messages online. This one's from March 12th, so I guess it's not updated, but you do have it, and so maybe this is just a highlight or something like that. You could probably, um, if that's what this is, you could probably rename the video, just so people think that it's updated and not just like an outdated sermon kind of thing. Yeah, but I love that that you have, a virtual Sunday place for people to watch online. So on that homepage, you took people out to your YouTube page, but really you could bring them right here to this page, and it would do the same thing. I'm not sure. Let me click out real quick. I know you all can't see this, but how you engage. Yeah, so it looks like virtual service for your church is is simply watching or participating online. There's no conversation. I didn't see anything with chat or anything like that when I went to the page. So because that's how you all are handling your online, your virtual service, um, I would absolutely point people to this page rather than your YouTube channel, from your website, because that keeps people in your website so they can be watching and also exploring, and participating in building that relationship and exploring more about who you are. So I would encourage you to update this playlist or this page with the most recent sermons. If you guys are not doing this anymore, then I would encourage you to take it down or talk about how things are different too. So that's a little bit about the Christian church in Philadelphia. I think there's a lot of really cool things in this website. Um, I love the contrast is great in the text. I love the pictures of people, and think that that's something that you could highlight some more. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I know that it's hard to represent that well on a church website a lot of times. So hopefully this little review was helpful. There are some other things, of course, that we could dive deeper into. One thing that I did note to myself, that I wanted to spend just a moment on is the navigation at the top. I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, or a previous website review, but if not, your website navigation, these main menu items that are at the top of your page, your website, think of it as a discipleship process or a relationship building process. People work, obviously you see the logo in the left normally on a website, and they work across the across the menus. Our eyes often jump to the first menu item, the last menu item. So those should be pretty important items. And in between should be, think of it as a step-by-step process. How do people get from this first button to this last button? Your first button should be people's first experience with your website. The last button should be for someone who is fully engaged with the life of your church. So online giving is often a great choice for that. Home, you usually don't need a home button because people generally know now that the logo is the clickable way to get to the homepage. So that's just wasted space, wasted text for people. So this could be something specific for new people who are coming to your website, or for guests, something like that. I don't love drop downs, but think about how people experience your church. What is the step-by-step process that you want them to experience as they become fully devoted members of your church, fully committed, fully part of the life of the church? Learning more about the church is usually a part of that. Virtual Sunday or online option is usually a part of that. Contact us should be probably part of the guest page, whatever you have for first-time visitors. So think through how people experience your church. What does that process look like as they get to know your church, as they come in and know nothing about the church to becoming full-fledged members of your church who are giving? What does that look like? And then, of course, you have a staff login here. I would encourage you to get rid of that because that only applies to your staff, obviously. So that's something that you could put down in the footer if you need a link to it. Otherwise, just make sure that your staff have access to that. But I would encourage you to get rid of it from up here. So, all right, with that, we'll end today's church website review. I would love to hear from you if you have any comments, anything that I missed that you think is important, anything that you would add, anything that you love about this website, add it in the comments below, or join our discussion, of course, in the Facebook group today. I look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday, and I hope you have a great week. See ya.